This conference will now be recorded.
All right, I call the New Richland City Council meeting for September 9th, 2024 to order. Looks like we're going to be swearing in Brandy Jacobson first.
Yeah, I, Brady Jacobson,
I, Brady Jacobson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and discharge faithfully the duties of the office of council member
and to discharge faithfully the duties of the city council member
of the city of New Richland
of the city of New Richland
in the county of Waseca,
in the county of Waseca,
the state of Minnesota,
the state of Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
So help me God.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
All right, roll call. Everyone is here. Do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They just have one addition under new business number 4, just to add this workshop, just to finalize that date.
All right. Anybody else additions?
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda items?
Okay, just for Brandy, for the
Yeah.
consent agenda, normal items like agenda or meeting minutes from the last meeting or anything that's normally just not something that we have a general discussion on, we'll go on the consent agenda. If it's something that you would like to discuss, we just ask to have it pulled off and we'll put it on the agenda. Otherwise, it's just one motion, we'll take care of all those items. So,
I think the times for the work session were wrong.
times for the,
If you look at the minutes of the work session, the times are starting and ending time of a regular meeting and not of the work session was after the meeting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It says it started at 6:30, that's when I heard from council.
Yeah.
I think when you copy and paste it, you just didn't change the times.
Mhm.
Those are the same times that you had on the regular
The
meeting.
regular meeting.
See what I'm saying?
I don't even know what you're looking at.
The work session minutes, August 26th.
Yeah, interesting.
I think we started at like 7:15, wasn't it? Shortly after that.
So you
7:20.
want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with those changes then?
Yep.
With correction. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I do read this.
All right. Let's see, we did the work session, approved the minutes there as well. Public comment? Does anybody have? We'll go down to the ordinance and resolution for resolution 24-18.
So this is an appointment to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. So this is to replace Lauren's position over at the HUD for their board of directors. So it is our responsibility for the appointment of that position. So this is to fulfill his remaining term.
I move that we adopt resolution 24-18.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, ambulance department?
Sarah's not here tonight. So this is the report as presented in your packet. Basically not much other than reminder that Jennifer Lacey has a benefit coming up on the 19th. Also, there's a mock crash coming up at the school on the 20th of September. And then as sent to you previously, the policy manual, she would like the council to adopt those changes and approve the policy manual. And it will take a separate motion for each.
The only changes were highlighted in yellow, correct?
Correct, yeah, only the changes were yellow.
Uh-huh.
60 hours.
And those were just basically some minor changes, but mostly the changes were due to the council adopted pay
That we,
changes that were approved at the June.
June meeting, right? Mm-hmm.
I
move to adopt the new policy updates for the ambulance.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I move to accept the ambulance report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Fire department?
Fire department report is in writing as well. I can get to it after getting through this policy manual.
Looks like one medical call.
Yeah, one medical and I think Josh, there's one false alarm. Then driver's training was what he reported as training. That's all I have for that.
I'll make a motion to accept the fire department report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Police department?
We had 147 calls for service for the month of August, making our total calls for the year at 1,653. Right around this time last year is when Officer Durant came on. So we'll start to even out calls a little bit more. We had night to night at the beginning of August, ran out of almost everything. Thank you, Gerke, for running to Wagner's to get more stuff.
Good problem.
Special thanks to all the emergency departments of New Richland and the Waseca County Sheriff's Posse brought out like 10 to 15 members and a mini horse, which was fantastic. We purchased the Data Master certification for Officer Durand for April of next year. That's basically just doing I think it's a 2 or 3 day course, up at the BCA, in St. Paul for being certified to use the Data Master computer in the jail for DWIs. I purchased printing paper for the squad cars. And lastly, Taser 10 information. Oh, this is. So that quote.
Is that what this invoice is, or this?
That's just
Yeah.
a quote.
16.
It's just a quote.
Okay.
So there is a couple things on there that are added that are not. So the total cost is the 16,522, but I believe that is also including the cost for them to send somebody down to certify one of our department members in the Taser 10 specifically, because every time they upgrade a weapon or create a new one, they have to have a specific training manual for that specific weapon. So that's optional, because I don't believe the sheriff's office is certified in Taser 10. So, or we could piggyback off of another department within the area that also has a Taser 10 instructor. So that's an option too. This quote was This quote expired September 1st, so I'd have to get an updated one, although I don't believe it'll be too much different, if at all. And then we're roughly like 5 to 6 months out on shipping. So,
Like $3,300 a year.
yeah, if we bridged it out, which is what they would do.
So we'd only have to pay
It would be over
5 years.
plan.
So what's included?
So it'd be all the cartridges for the whole 5 years.
Okay.
Updated, software. It would be, I don't remember if this one is for 3 or 4, devices. But it would be the maintenance for those, the batteries are included in that price. So it's basically just one lump sum package. And you would get all your stuff shipped, like I would just have to call them and say, hey, we need X amount of batteries, and they'd ship them to us.
How many
Everything.
devices?
I don't remember if this one is 3 or 4
I'm
devices.
thinking it's 3.
It is 3?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I remember our conversation.
And we don't ever have anybody more than 3 on duty at one time.
We wouldn't, no.
And I'm assuming our other ones that we have are just getting older?
Yeah, so
Their 5-year life cycle.
Yeah, our contract with those devices expired last year, and then they carry the contract over for a year afterwards. So that goes out, I believe, December of this year. And they're no longer producing anything to fit that device.
I was just gonna ask, is there anything that's interchangeable with the old one that you could use with the new one?
Mhm.
Why would you do that?
Do it
Why
that
would they
way.
make that way?
I would.
Why would you make it budget friendly? So,
Yeah.
the big differences in these between what we have now and what this new TASER would offer is it's a 45-foot range instead of a 20 to 25-foot range. If you Google or if you YouTube TASER 10 deployments, there's some super cool videos from like a long freaking distance. It's really awesome. One trigger pull is 1 probe deployment, which is different than the other ones where it's a 2 probe deployment. So it offers more accuracy with the double trigger pull. And then each cartridge has 9 probes in it, as opposed to the 1 cartridge having 2 probes, which would be, so you wouldn't have to switch it out every time. You just take that probe out and you'd be good to go.
Can you get a demonstrator when we get it?
If you
Yeah.
would like to volunteer.
Be my guest.
So, that's all. If you have more questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And we have this in the budget planned already, or?
Not entirely, but we could move some stuff around in her budget to take care of it. I mean, we were already budgeting, the previous contract was 1,800 a year maybe.
I'd have to look back. That sounds.
So it's a little more expensive than the previous contract, but I mean,
So this year we would still have money kind of budgeted towards?
well, this wouldn't be till next year anyway.
Yeah, this
This
would
would be
be-
for 2025.
And we didn't have a TASER payment for
Because it was expired.
2024.
Because it's
The
this year
contract is
extension, okay.
So, yeah, it just would be that we would have to just agree that this is gonna be a 5-year contract.
Are you needing an approval for it tonight?
She would
or-
like to get it ordered, because it's gonna be
Yeah.
6 months out.
Is there a reason that you need 3 and 4 if there's only 2 cops on duty? Or is
We
it
always
just
like to have a backup. So if you have 1, you have none. If you have 2, you have 1, and so on. So, yeah, in case something goes AWOL with one of them,
What just happened?
which has happened several times, so.
Well, any,
I'll make a motion to go ahead with the proposal you already have for those TASER 10s.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody have any other questions for the police department report?
I move to accept the police department report.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, council update pay policy.
This is just on, we had tabled it last time, and then still wanted to discuss it, or if you wanted to just keep it on the agenda, or if you had more thoughts or different thoughts, or going from a per diem to a salary.
So it'd basically be, if you weren't here, you would still get the amount, is what you're, correct?
Or if we went from 2 meetings to 1 meeting, it would just be.
Still the same.
Mhm.
That doesn't change anything tax-wise, does it?
No,
Not unless we increase it.
right.
I'm looking at the other cities, that are about our same population, we're not really, extravagant in our
No.
wages. I looked at Legion, I can't afford, they can pay that much for, well, then they don't have a police force either.
They got
Same
higher
with
taxes,
Janesville.
though.
Janesville's too is,
Yeah, but Legion was like, the mayor, that's like, was it 4,800 and
yeah,
also 2,400
yeah.
for one meeting a month? That seems a little high
Mhm,
for a town of 700 and something.
right.
Yeah, good for them.
Mhm,
Bad for the taxpayers.
mhm.
So, and as far as one meeting, I think we could get by with one meeting a month. But it'd have to be towards the end of the month because give Tony and Heather time to get the financials
Mhm.
ready from the previous month.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I feel like there's certain months we might need to have 2 meetings because of just the timing of when we have to approve things for
Yeah,
state guidelines.
and it can be structured in multiple different ways. It could be a work session in a meeting, it could be 2 meetings, it could be done multiple ways. I just, and even if you approve this policy, we can still maintain 2 meetings and continue that forever.
Mhm.
This doesn't change any of that. This is just, it gives you the leeway to, if you choose to want to go to 1 meeting a month or go to 1 work session a meeting, that gives you the option to do that. If we keep it as per diem, then if you do go down to 1 meeting a month, then your per diem is gonna be the 75, and that's what it's gonna be.
Right.
If you go, it's gonna, that's the difference.
Right. I think we should stew over it at least another month. And then
Yeah.
if somebody come up with any good ideas or any bad ideas.
I remember seeing that, what Jody was talking about, how the other cities are paid, but I don't see it in this here,
What?
in this,
No, I just sent you guys.
Separate
I
email.
was wondering where I saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll go back and look at it.
yeah.
I think it's something to talk about, but not have to do
Yeah,
anything right now.
I'll just remind the council that if you make any changes to your wages, you have to do that prior to the next
Understand.
cycle, so that you have to adopt that before the election. So
Yeah. So what would be the last date that we,
I would urge that you do it at the next meeting.
Next meeting?
otherwise,
Yeah.
leave them alone.
Again, this doesn't increase or decrease, it's just the fact of,
No, this is just
That's what I
simply
mean, and
changing
that
it
doesn't
from
change.
a per
Changing.
diem
Like you
to
said.
a wage.
the meeting discussion. so.
Yeah.
I won't make a motion, but I'll just voice that I like the idea. I can be patient to wait another month.
Just table it until next.
next
Like a
meeting?
motion to table, yeah.
I'll make a motion to table till next.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Mayor appointments update.
Jan and I sat down and we were kind of trying to figure this out, and we just thought with so many new members on the council, maybe a better idea if this was more heads together to kind of try to figure this out, so. Especially with, there's some meetings that are done before the end of the business day, like Care Center, or right at the end of the business day, like EDA and Care Center. Just trying to figure out who fits well in those spots, so. I guess I'll leave it to you. If people were happy where they were at and want to stay in those spots, great. Otherwise, I guess, like Brandy, I'm not aware of your schedule, so I guess it's hard for me to make a suggestion to the mayor where you should sit on those committees, but, the Care Center meets right at 5, is that right?
5:30 is, oh no, 5.
5 o'clock
5 o'clock.
on Monday, the second,
Fourth,
third,
fourth Monday.
fourth Monday of the month, and EDA meets at 4:30 on the
On the
fourth
fourth.
Monday of the month. So those are two of the ones that we have to definitely fill up for council appointments.
I have no problem if somebody wants to be on EDA at 4:30 if they can make that. Otherwise, or I can stay
I'll stay on EDA.
EDA.
If it's all right with everybody.
If nobody can do the 5 o'clock at the nursing home, Jody's gonna stay on EDA for 4:30 for the rest of this year. I could always move to the 5 o'clock for the nursing home. Unless,
So this is their meeting that I would be attending to bring back any.
correct,
Right,
yeah,
liaison.
you would be the council representative for that committee.
And how often do they meet?
Just once a
Once a
month. The care center would be once a month, the fourth Monday
Monday.
of the month at 5 p.m.
So you go to that meeting and you have to,
Then you come here right
Yeah,
after
then you come
that.
right-
Yeah,
almost
be a
right
busy
here.
night.
I think I can do that.
You wanna do that?
great, thank you.
Then you'll stay on the EDA.
I can stay on EDA, yep. Lauren was on the police liaison and the care center, so the police liaison,
You can stay there, Amanda.
okay, that'd be great. And ambulance, would anybody like to, so I'm not doing,
Randy, you want to be on the ambulance?
or Ryan?
I can.
What is there?
So
Usually
it's
one Sunday.
Sunday, the first Sunday, right?
I
In the
forget
evening
which.
at 6?
Isn't it always before our meeting?
Farmer
That
City
was
meeting,
always that
yeah,
problem, yeah.
yeah,
Or after?
or after.
It was after, yeah. I just figured, you know which first, second, third Sunday?
It's the
what
first.
It actually is.
Yeah.
I believe I can handle that, unless you want.
That would be great.
Yeah,
'cause
I feel like I don't want to
Yep.
step in too deep right now. Especially
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
Yep, so Ryan, you're gonna do ambulance liaison and committee?
We can leave Brian fire team there, so.
Okay. And if you're unavailable for something, I mean, let me know too.
I'm assuming there's something different with the ambulance executive committee.
It's a committee meeting.
Kind of like fire has.
They do it online?
basically
Yeah, they do it all
officers
online, yeah.
meetings.
Once a
Okay,
year,
just
they do a
wondering.
meeting, and we've already actually done that one.
Okay.
We might be having a follow-up here in the next month, but they haven't really sent anything out yet. But it's usually once, maybe twice a year at the most, and it's all on Zoom.
But you're staying on that, right? I just want to make sure one wasn't hand in hand. or
They're kind of hand in hand,
Or do
correct,
you want-
Tony?
What?
Doing
Do you want
ambulance executive committee,
Yeah.
They're
you
both
just-
kinda hand in
yeah,
hand.
you
both?
stay
Okay.
there.
okay.
So then Ryan and Jody are on that one then?
Oh, there was twice. So there's a planning commission. I didn't look down.
No,
Look,
No,
there, I
you're
saw
you're on the
ambulance
ambulance
executive.
liaison
Yeah.
in
we'll
the
leave
committee.
Jason on the planning commission, he's done a good job on
I saw that executive committee, but then I see this one about planning commission. So which?
there. You bet on?
You-
Yep,
No,
that's
just
fine.
Stick
these
with
two.
that one, right?
Yeah, these two,
Okay.
yeah. They're joined together in the same meetings, and just talking with Sarah for the liaison.
And then we'll leave Jody on streets parks, 'cause that's where he's been. And then Randy, if you're okay, we can put you on water and sewer liaison, and then that's just if Ryan or if Eric or Braden need something, they can come to you on that. And then Jan, you can stay on the county board. That covers everything, right? Good. All right, and then I'll do a final one for adoption for the next meeting. We'll officially adopt it.
Alright.
Okay,
Alright,
thank you.
alright, new business, Protect American Roofing Inspection.
It's been a couple of years.
Is that the same one we had?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a couple of years. I know we had some problems this last time. We had asked, if we'd done it, we haven't done it for a few years. And Dan reached out and asked if we wanted to do it again. The price is still the same. It's $1,900 to inspect every city roof again. And then we have the option of pre-authorizing up to $500 in repairs for each one of the roofs. They would do the same thing they've done in the past, check everything, provide that full in-depth report with all the pictures and all the structure of the roof. And that, if we choose to, the pre-authorization up to $500 in repairs for each of the roofs. So I told them I would ask you guys what you guys wanted to do.
Did we do that last year?
We did not do it last year, we did it like 2
Year-
years ago.
Okay.
It's only an annual.
Well, when we did it, we kind of decided we were thinking it would be like an every other year kind of thing too. But we didn't do it last year, and then we ended up having the leaks in here during that graduation.
We had a lot of rain too.
Yeah. So,
They do a pretty thorough inspection
Yeah.
and stuff with the
Yeah.
pictures and so
I
it's,
thought it was pretty good.
I think it's money pretty well spent.
I think we've had a lot of rain this year where it might be a good year to,
before the
Re-inspect
snow comes,
things.
it might
Yeah.
not be a bad idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
because we still budget for it for this year, correct?
Well,
Or did we
it's
not really?
$1,900 over 6 different funds. So
Okay.
I mean, it's like not really
That's right.
that big of a chunk.
No, I just wanted to make sure. To make sure we're not getting ourselves in trouble anywhere. Any other thoughts or questions?
I'll make a motion to go with that proposal of $4,000 for the annual cost of all these.
1,900.
Oh, I was reading down below, sorry. 1,900.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, joint county ditch hearing, final hearing.
So it makes sense for me to even try to explain this to them, because I think it makes a lot more sense for you to maybe just do a really brief overview.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna say something bad that's gonna make us go down the wrong way. Yeah, so Chris Howard's here. Long story short, joint county ditch final hearing on a few ditches that, the ditch that comes through our city. We do have some assessments that we're gonna have to pay on it, and Chris is here. We had a conversation this morning. It's gonna lead us down another conversation that Chris doesn't need to be a part of, that we need to make some decisions on, but he just is here to kind of make some explanations of why this is important and why it needs to be done, just so that everybody's kind of aware of what's going on. So.
Thank you for hearing me. The city of Richland is part of 3 different public drainage systems. You have County Ditch 32 off to the northwest, Joint County Ditch 6, which is a joint ditch with Freeborn County, and County Ditch 47. When those county ditches were established and created, every parcel of property within the watershed of those prospective ditches is given a benefit value. And that benefit value is the value that the ditch adds to the property. So it can be farmed, it can be buildable, it can be, and so all of those parcels of property that are viewed by a team of viewers, and these are independent viewers, they don't work for Waseca County, they're not affiliated, they're neutral, non-biased. And so they view all the pieces of property in 40-acre parcels or less, and they apply a benefit amount to them. And when you take all those parcels of property within that watershed, they add up all those benefit numbers, and it becomes the value or the benefit of the system. And where that is important is that every ditch, every public drainage system has its own fund. And the role of Waseca County and the Drainage Authority, which is made up of the county commissioners, is that Waseca County is there to administer maintenance and operation of the ditch, and also to assess for the repairs that go into that ditch system. So in other words, if we look at County Ditch 47 and we say next year, County Ditch 47 is gonna need $50,000 worth of work. We're supposed to levy that $50,000 this year, so that next year, when the work is done, the money is there to pay the bill. So that is kind of the role of Waseca County. The money that is levied or raised in any of those ditches stays in that fund. It doesn't move from County Ditch 47 to Joint County Ditch 6 or 32. It is its own checkbook, for a lack of better terms. Now, part of the redetermination of benefits is all of these ditches were established in the early 70s, and land prices were different, input prices were different for crops, building site values were different, just, you're talking about inflation over 50 years. A great example is that in County Ditch 47, there's about 1,200 acres in it, and the original benefits from when it was established were $123,471 for the whole system. That was the benefit of the drainage system. In today's terms, that's now turned into $4.3 million. And where this becomes important, and where we're talking to Tony earlier today, is that the Drainage Authority, in order to raise proceeds to pay for those repairs, are allowed to assess or to levy against the benefit value of the system. They can levy up to a maximum of 20% against the value of the system. But where we run into troubles is that when you have dated benefit values to these systems, pretty soon the repairs are outrunning what we can even assess for. So we're spending more money than we can bring in. And when that happens, what historically is that the general fund will end up giving that ditch a loan to get it back in the black again. And this has been happening on quite a few ditch systems. We didn't get the redetermination process that should have been started a long time ago, and a little bit more attention paid to it. But we're in good shape with County Ditch 47 and Joint County Ditch 6 because neither one of those two systems really have much in terms of debt, not like some of our other ditch systems, because when those loans are given to a ditch system or to a fund, they have to be paid back. And so you don't see big assessments that if we have a ditch with a small benefit value and they're assessing 20% and they're pulling in $10,000 a year, everyone thinks, well, that's great. The city of Richland is getting a $2,000 assessment. What you're not seeing is in the back, your debt on the credit card is doing this, even though we're making minimum payment over here. And so someday it comes home to roost that, we've been making minimal payments because we've only been able to assess so much, but now we have this large debt in the background to tend to. We don't have that here, which is good. But, with the talks of the flood mitigation study and, trying to do something to possibly reroute, divert, improve things in the ditch. What we wanted to do is have accurate, up-to-date records of who is in the system, what those land uses are, what the benefits are, because it could play an important role down the road if something is done. Now, what Tony will probably tell you is that, there's roughly $30,000 coming for the cost of these redeterminations between the three systems. And the reason for this is that when those systems were established, damages were paid for where the ditches were placed. So when we took property from someone, they were reimbursed for the area where the ditch was constructed. At that time, there was not a buffer strip law or rule in effect, so they were paid for the ditch itself. Now, in 2017, with the date along the buffer rule, it was mandated that we have to have a 16.5-foot wide buffer strips. And so now when we do these redetermination of benefits, it is only right and fair to pay the affected people the buffer strips. And so that is a bill for the ditch system, which gets spread out to all the beneficiaries of the ditch system. So if we spend $50,000 buying buffer strips, everyone in the ditch contributes towards that. And so this final hearing, we sent out information on this in January, and we had a public informational meeting in February 10th. And everyone had, you know, these spreadsheets explaining, you know, what the assessments would be. And we tried to do due diligence to visit with everyone, anyone who has questions or concerns. And, you know, we visited with everyone who showed up or participated. Now, September 20th is the final hearing. And, you know, the final hearing is where, you know, the findings in order for this drainage proceeding are adopted, and this new benefit roll is voted in. And so the final hearing is not really the place to be, hopefully, asking a lot of questions.
How many people asked questions in that time frame?
Nobody.
Did you talk? Nobody?
Very few.
Okay.
And so this is where, you know, I was venting earlier to Tony today, is we did a very large system over on the west side of Waseca County last year, and we sent out over 1,000 mailings like this. You know, there was, you know, 1,000 different landowners and 1,200 and some. And we held a public informational meeting, and we got half a dozen people, you know, and everyone, I think, you know, kind of the problem is that some people don't understand it. Some people don't care. Some people
Busy?
pass it off, and then at the last minute, when they get something official in the mail that looks, you know, a public hearing notice, and they see their name on it, they say, well, I better pay attention, you know, and I better start asking questions. And what we're trying to do is we're doing our level best to answer questions before that final hearing, because when people show up to that hearing and they say, I don't agree with my benefit amount, and we stop the proceeding and try and figure it out on the spot, if we can't come to an agreement, you know, the meeting will get rescheduled to a later date. People have to come back, you know, the attorneys have to come back. And the problem is it adds expense to the proceeding, which in turn adds expense to the ditch, which everyone pays, you know. And we've had it in the past where people have shown up to just kind of stick a wrench in the gear and, you know, kind of a got you thing. And, you know, they don't realize that they're costing themselves money by doing that, you know. And so we're trying to answer any and all questions before the hearing so that we make it go smooth for the drainage authority, and in the end, try and make it affordable for the people in the drainage system.
The interesting thing that I learned this morning was that figure is actually our figure. That's to the city of New Richland, is actually a per property figure for every parcel in our community just billed to us.
Okay. Makes sense.
So it's our choice of how we want to handle that. Either we can choose to do that somehow back to each property owner, the city can just pay for it through some other operation. The city of Janesville's created a stormwater fund and then has a capital stormwater charge on their water and sewer bills, and they use that to pay this type of fee. That's how they take care of that.
And everybody gets that fee, not just the ones that.
Everybody that gets utility bill, and this is what happened in Janesville. I talked to them today, and it's the same type of deal. They got this shock and created the storm fund in Janesville. And there's actually, they charge $13 a month per utility owner for the storm water.
And what I want to just clarify is that, you know, these assessments, you know, to the city of Janesville, to the city of New Richland, to the city of Waseca have always been there. It's just that you know, then maybe there were smaller amounts, they weren't maybe noticed as much. I don't know how to describe it, but, you know.
Well, yeah, and like I said, we've always budgeted $1,000 to $2,000 for county ditches, and I'm assuming that that's probably what we paid for assessments, I would assume so. And maybe that's why it's never been a capital fund fee, because,
And you know, there hasn't been a great deal of work done on those ditches, and like I say, with the smaller benefit amounts of these ditches in the past, you know, on County Ditch 47, you know, the city before had benefits of $12,000 and you had, you know, 9%. So, you know, $1,200.
right, yeah, so and that's why I'm saying, I don't think there was anything ever budgeted above $1,500 for it.
But, you know, but what we're trying to get in front of is that we want to make things predictable, and our hope is that we can kind of have a middle of the road assessment every year. The way the assessments work is that staff, as myself and another guy that I work with, we look at the ditches and we propose, we look at the health of the fund, we look at what the ditch needs in the upcoming, you know, year to 2 years, and we say we need X amount of dollars for this ditch. And then we propose that to the board and they ask their questions, why, you know, anything that, and then they, you know, either accept it or maybe we lower it, you know, just. And so, but we want to make sure that we don't get in a catch-22 to where we start spending a bunch of money on these ditches and we start racking up debt in these systems. Because in a ditch fund, if a ditch system cannot pay back a debt within a calendar year, then technically we're supposed to apply drainage liens to all the affected properties within that drainage system. And a drainage lien is the number one lien that is out there that trumps a first mortgage. So a drainage lien is first and foremost needs to be satisfied, and a lot of people get excited when you start getting liens, and then financial companies start to get a little excited too because now there's a lien that is in front of them. So we're trying to eliminate the need for all of that.
How far west does 47 go?
47?
I've seen maps, but I haven't paid attention.
County Ditch 47 ends at a little over a mile west, where it crosses Highway 30, just on the end of Amundsen's down there.
Is that where that log cabin house is?
Yep, just to the west.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Or east.
Where that new bridge is a couple years ago.
Yes, that is the end of County Ditch 47. And so, you know, the other thing too, just, and I'm starting to ramble on here, but County Ditch 47 actually comes up into town, and then behind the meat market, County Ditch 47 goes south through the pipe, underneath the high school and out south of town. So that's all County Ditch 47. County Ditch 6 dumps into County Ditch 47 right behind the meat market, even though it looks like it's just one continual ditch. That is the end of County Ditch 6, where it dumps into County Ditch 47. So that being said, I'll try and cut it short. And if you have questions for me.
Thanks, Chris, and I'm sorry for throwing you under the bus.
No,
I appreciate because you.
I have one question. So you said you're assessing the ditches. So have we assessed them this year to kind of see, is there going to be work that needs to be done here shortly on them for those drainage? You know, because if that water's coming into town when we have high floods, are we predicting?
This is just to strictly maintain and
Okay.
repair what's currently there.
Yes. And mainly, the numbers that you received were for the cost of this redetermination proceeding and to buy those buffer strips, to pay damages for those buffer strips. But this percentage and this benefit amount is, you know, what is used going forward when any work is done in the ditch. You know, this is your percentage that, you know, that we base everything off of.
I think it makes sense.
As of right now, you know, we don't have anything big planned in terms of construction.
Okay.
Normal maintenance, some little repairs here and there, but nothing,
Nothing of concern that,
no.
And this would be a yearly fee that we'd be doing, is this?
Well,
Well,
Is that right?
that's not, this is, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's,
not to this.
this.
Okay,
yeah,
I was,
This is gonna spur us into a different conversation, so, yes, but, thank you, Chris, I appreciate it.
Thank
you very much.
Thanks for being here.
Step up.
Yeah.
all right,
No,
thanks.
No, you're good. No.
No, thank you for coming.
I'm gonna say the rest of the meeting.
So,
Yeah.
I just wanted them to explain that so that you guys
Yeah.
kind of knew what the difference was. So basically, that is to just basically maintain what was there when it started.
And going forward, same
But
process.
to just maintain what's there.
Yeah.
It's not to improve it, it's just to fix what is established as is.
And they will use that formula going
Yeah,
forward. in the
so,
future.
so basically,
To patch what's there,
it's
basically.
to basically maintain what is there operating as it was established when it was made hundreds and millions of years ago.
Did they say anything about maybe what an average owner would pay?
Yeah,
Well, here's the list of, this is the whole list of what everybody's
You
getting
think there's gonna be
assessed.
some people?
But I can tell you, so what they said is that 20% of what our so basically, long story short, from our conversation, excuse me, this morning, is at the 20% schedule, the most we would ever see potentially for an assessment would be $100,000.
You're saying we as the
To
city,
the city.
Mhm.
but we can push that out to the landowners on it, right, or property owners.
Which is why I would strongly suggest the council chooses to put together a storm sewer fund
Mhm.
and create a storm sewer fund and put together some sort of funding mechanism, whether that be on the utility bills or something else.
That 100,000, would that be projected over a time frame?
That is he does not expect them to do that anywhere in the near future. That is just a number that he said is if they were to level that 20% levy against us for some sort of repair, that would be the figure that would be,
Looking at,
they would be looking at.
So we're just
for-
trying
We're
to make a
trying-
bank.
And that's
Basically,
based
yeah.
upon the
Make
length
an
of
account.
the ditch going through town.
That's based on our share
Our
of,
share.
of the,
Okay.
of that.
I think it all makes sense.
Yeah.
To me.
How can you,
Now,
I can't understand how you can assess a property owner, say you lived in Eastern New Richland. You can send me an assessment, you flooded my backyard every time it rains heavily, and you want me to pay for that? I don't think so.
I had this conversation with them earlier today.
I'm just,
But I still- I
as a
still
property
think
owner, I'd say,
I had
Yeah.
this
you
conversation.
can take this and
I still think.
whatever
it's
you wanna
important,
do with
because
it.
you bought property
I
on
did
that
have this
ditch.
conversation with them today, earlier about that, and I said, this is a perspective thing with, trying to argue paying $30,000 for a ditch that floods town regularly.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I said but I do understand,
But we're paying.
I see both sides of the
Right.
equation, I do. The other thing is that you setting up a third fund, a stormwater fund, by doing that and putting together a capital fund for stormwater stuff, when we do street projects, we can use a stormwater fund to fund the stormwater part of a street project. So if we have not used it for the county ditch projects, when we go to do a street fund, instead of using the sewer fund to fund the storm and the sewer part of the project, we
Doing it
take money
separate.
from the storm project, started of the project, and fund the stormwater part, sewer for the sewer part, and water for the water part, and spread those funds a little thinner,
Yeah.
and not have to draw so much money from each of those projects. So
That makes sense.
that takes some money off the tax base. I mean, it doesn't, because, it is what it is,
It
but
makes it
I did figure it out. And at this $30,000 figure, if we put $5 on everybody's utility bill a month towards this storm sewer fund, that gets us to the $30,000 figure.
You talking everybody in town or everybody on the ditch?
Everybody.
Everybody on town.
town,
Why? Well, because.
Because everybody in town,
That ditch.
everybody in
Everybody
town goes to the ditch.
Yeah.
Because you gotta think that all our water goes in the sanitary system, which gets treated at the sewer and gets dumped in the ditch. So everybody's water does
Makes
go into.
right.
Makes sense. Gotcha.
Is there a way for you to find out area towns, what they charge for their storms
I
water?
can ask, I know Janesville charges 13.
Yeah, I know it's a month, which seems
Wow.
high,
That seems high.
but it'd be nice
I
to know
would
like
imagine
what
that their figure was a
Allendale.
little higher than ours.
But they don't have a ditch running through their town.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's other towns like Allendale, Heartland, if they have a storm and what they charge to see.
And I
Where
did talk to
was it?
Abdo, and Abdo said all it takes is a resolution from the council to establish a new fund. So that would be something very simple to take care of.
And we can do that when we're working on budget, or do you want us to do something like that now?
I would like to have the new fund in place. I don't care when we start it. I would like it to be full swing January 1st. I mean, I would like to get it going sooner than later, because I mean, they're gonna send us a bill for it after this hearing.
Should we direct you to put it on the agenda then?
Well, I think I think we'll establish, I'll have stuff ready to go to establish the fund if you're okay with that for the next meeting.
You guys?
We can choose how to fund it. Well, I mean, I'll put it on the agenda. If you don't approve it, you don't approve it.
Well, we at least discuss it more.
Yeah,
And then
maybe getting some
I
more
can get
information.
I can try to call a few cities of our size and see if they have it. I would assume that there's a lot of cities that are probably not having this fund,
Mhm.
I would think. So, I mean, maybe think about that I'm curious to see where Janesville's water and sewer rates are too, to see what their utility bill's at, cause.
Yeah.
Well, you said Waseca's at what, 60 something before you even turn any water on?
Yeah,
Waldorf's was pretty high. I asked a couple people over there and I go, oh my God.
Yeah, they got a brand new system.
Yeah.
with electricity, it's 83 something, but for water and sewer, it's in the 60s. But, and there's storm water charges and base charges, so.
So, yeah, I just think that it's gonna have to, and that's one of the things that we talked about too, because I said, I asked Chris, I said, who's in charge of making sure, who's in charge of stopping people from dumping water into the ditch? Like,
Right.
at what point do you tell somebody to stop dumping water into the ditch, you can't take anymore? And then, his comment was, well, you guys built this whole homestake subdivision, I mean, that adds a whole bunch of water to the ditch too. And I said, well,
Yeah.
and then I said, well, I mean, so you gotta look at it from multiple perspectives. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but if the town grows because you add more stuff to it, then you can pay for it, but.
So it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is. So
Sounds good.
just,
Yeah. All right.
All the things, you know.
Any- Do you need a motion?
no,
Okay. All right,
on this though.
on,
Oh,
council technology discussion / purchase.
So,
We had this was the information that was sent to us, that there was a deal so that we could then remove that technology line out of our budget for next year, so taxes wouldn't go up for trying to have this budget in. And we have that extra money to use that, so we
so
had
you need a motion to
approved it, so we need motions.
I move to approve the purchase of the updated or upgraded technology for the council, which is, I believe, 5 tablets with a 3-year protection plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, workshop.
So I heard back from 4 of you, 3 of you said Thursday the 26th, and 1 of you said the Tuesday the 24th, and I did not hear back from Ryan.
What are we talking about here?
Work session.
The
Workshop
open
for
and
the
make.
street session workshop, you said Thursday the 26th worked best for you.
No, that won't work.
Yeah, it won't work for Jody.
Today.
Jody said the 26th worked best for him.
Oh, that's
And
right.
I just, now, with the band gig that I found out about today, I might not be able to make that.
Does the,
Oh, you guys can have it without.
does the 24th work for everyone if we did it the 24th?
What day is it?
Sorry.
That's
no,
a
I see
Tuesday.
What time? 6:30? I mean, approximately.
6:30?
I could do that, I guess. I want to.
The 26th?
Yeah.
24th.
24th.
Tuesday.
So we'd be here Monday for the regular council meeting and then come Tuesday.
Yeah. Throw it out there. I'll be for it.
Ryan?
Can you make Tuesday, 24th work, Ryan?
Send us an email for a reminder tomorrow, so I can put it on my calendar.
So far, the evening is open. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah,
6:30 guys?
6:30 we're doing.
Come over from, volleyball at Blooming, but
What?
6:35.
6:30.
Want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion for Tuesday, the 24th at 6:35.
Okay.
second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
I will send out a notice and I'll let Corey know.
All right, 2025 budget discussion.
All right, let's jump in, eh?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I got everything in there that we had discussed. We are sitting here. So, but that's everything. That's the whole wish list of everything that we discussed, including the per diems for all of the citizen
Committee.
committees.
Okay.
So,
So go with it.
my suggestion, just my suggestion, while we whittle away with this, is to go back to capital funds and use Jody's idea. And I think we're gonna go,
What was my idea?
to spend down.
23
down.
spend
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, the spend down.
And I think we set our preliminary there, if everybody's okay with that.
That's better.
A preliminary is, we just have to set it, we can't go higher than that.
That's right, can't go higher, but we can go lower.
This gives us a cushion in case LGA for some reason comes
I just
different.
always, and we don't have insurance numbers yet finalized from insurance yet.
And
I should have those before the next meeting.
under your estimation, do you think they'll go up or they'll go down?
Insurance, slight increase, I think, but not too
Not much.
terrible.
I don't think it's terrible.
Does it
Do
ever?
you
go
have
down?
like a rough kind of figured in there for insurance
No,
at all?
I haven't even known
No?
that at all, no. Well, yeah.
Do you have like a 5 or 8%?
I didn't put that much, but it's a little, but it's not a lot.
But the amount is still there
Yeah,
for the budget. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
but I mean, we still don't have to set the preliminary until the next meeting. So, I mean, I'll put, this is still July expenses and revenue is still in here, because I don't have the final numbers for August yet until probably Friday. For year-to-date numbers.
So does this, if we decide not to do the capital funding, for the stormwater, because if we don't, I'm assuming, we would, but if we didn't, we'd have to put that in here too then, correct?
Mhm.
That would make it even higher.
That wouldn't affect the general fund, though, would it?
Well,
separate.
so Doug said that if they assess us, that the county would be willing to assess us over 1 or 2 years if we choose to do that.
Might as well.
So if we were to set up this stormwater fund, I would ask him to assess us over a 2-year period, because that would give us 2 years to build up that fund, and
Yeah.
we'd just pay the assessment out of that fund and we'd be fine.
Okay.
Then it wouldn't even come out of the general fund, then it would come out of that enterprise
Right.
fund.
Right, okay.
Is this stuff right here anywhere in relation to the difference in sewer and water bill?
No, that's a
No,
totally
That-
separate
That's a
fund.
different
fund.
fund. Okay, that's what I thought. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, those are 2 separate funds. So. I wanna see the August income on the ambulance side, because we may have to really look at the revenue hardcore on the ambulance side.
What's your thought there?
I don't think we're getting as much ambulance revenue as we're projecting to get
Oh,
in,
gotcha.
so.
Well, they haven't had the runs, have they?
No, they've had the runs. I just don't think that we're getting the revenue back that we should be getting back from this. I think we really need to look at this billing company and thinking if it's really worth the amount of money we're paying.
Why aren't we getting it back?
I just
just
don't-
haven't got it yet.
I just don't know if we're getting paid like we should be getting paid.
You mean ever get paid, or we ain't getting paid, but we'll get it in the future?
I just don't know if we're getting, I don't know if we're gonna get any more money than we're getting back because of the type of patients that we're transporting.
You can't pick your patients.
Right.
Or their insurance.
That's true.
Well, that's a crapshoot then, anytime.
Well, there's always a time lag, but is it excessive or is it?
Well, the billing has gotten better. The stuff's coming faster.
There's a lot of write-offs though, right?
That's the problem, is that there is some write-offs.
Write-offs we can fight?
No.
No, because Medicare pays what they pay and then that's it.
it.
That's that crapshoot again. If you get a Medicare patient, what do you do?
A lot of us old people are on there.
There is, what I did notice in a few different spots is I gotta take a really close look at the utilities, because I think if we're gonna knock some stuff out of the budget, I think in the utility areas, we can knock quite a bit out of the budget, because there's some stuff that's really over budgeted in a few of the utility places. And I think that's just because there was some errors made in the past years that just haven't gotten corrected, so.
Every little bit helps.
And remind me again, for every percentage,
And
it's
for
12?
every 12 to 14-ish thousand dollars is about a percentage.
Okay.
And has all departments kind of looked at their budget to see where they
Yeah,
can cut?
we're everybody's kind of to where they need.
Okay.
I mean, we could shave some stuff off, but we're kind of,
At the bare
Yeah,
minimum?
Yeah, we're kinda-
If we keep going bare bones, we're gonna hurt
Oh.
3 years down the road.
exactly. And then that's why I have a hard time saying we can cut, because we're kind of to that point where we are operating thin.
Well, then we gotta do our marketing of saying that, just say that to the public, that we have to do this, or we'll be hurting in the future. Anytime anybody makes a complaint. I mean, I'll complain, because I don't wanna pay more taxes,
Yeah.
but I understand that,
Nobody wants to pay
we-
more taxes.
Our staff has done a really good job getting by with what they have to get by. And we've done a very good job creatively fixing problems. Like, if you look at how we got that brand new skid steer and all that equipment by
Yeah.
trading in that tractor and all that other stuff, and something that we probably would have never been able to get, but just by creatively coming to some sort of solution to get that fixed.
kind of my point is though, is a lot of the general public don't see that, and they
No.
don't hear that.
No.
No, you're right.
You know the group over there that will help us? What's that group over?
Minnesota Valley Council of Governments.
Can you talk to them to see if they can give us some marketing stuff to sit there and put stuff on Facebook or on a webpage?
Well, they
Look
can,
at what we
yeah,
got.
they can probably help with some of that stuff. The other thing that I've been thinking about now too is something simple like stump grinding. We spend between $1,200 and $2,800 a year on stump grinding. Well, for
Buy your own here.
$4,500, we can buy a stump grinder for the front of our skid steer.
Yeah.
Why aren't we investing in that? For 2 years worth of stump grinding, we can invest in a stump grinder, and now we've eliminated that from our budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
that's the kind of stuff that we need to kind of maybe be thinking a little bit more about.
Thinking creatively that way.
Right. So Eric and I have a list of some stuff that we're thinking about. for that
Okay, I was just asking, did you poke at them to get together?
Yeah, it's just that, I mean, you've seen,
Especially when he talked about St. Olaf and the number of trees.
Oh,
that were
yeah.
Coming down.
I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of where you gotta rob from Peter to pay Paul sometimes, and it's just.
Has anybody came talk to you? Because I've talked to 2 people about them trees.
No, I've got 3 more names on my list I gotta try to make contact with this week yet, so.
And I looked at them, and they aren't very big, but they're all just dying. Bark's falling off them.
Mhm.
The sawmill said that it has to be, for them to want to use
1
it for
foot.
lumber, 1 foot wide, 8 feet tall, at least. That's the minimum.
Mhm.
And some of them are getting close to that
Right,
minimum.
Hmm.
Anyway,
yeah, so,
so we should go 17%?
well, I think that's the best bet I think that's where we're gonna end up being for preliminary, and then I think it's very hard until we get to October or the first week in November until we have October year-to-date numbers to really pencil down. Because it's hard, we still have 3 months of spending
Expenses.
to really push hard.
As John said, is the LGA gonna be a surprise?
I don't think so.
Okay, worst case scenario, what would it do?
I really don't think so. We gained like $400.
Yeah, from last year. That's all we're getting an increase for compared to
Okay,
last.
so.
Oh, 1,000, sorry.
No, it's like $560 difference from last year what we got paid, but isn't it like 4,000 and something?
Okay, so based on your experience, you're probably gonna say that we won't get a hell of a lot less.
LGA should be right on. I can't see them not giving us what we should be getting.
Didn't we have a year though that we had to kind of,
When Jody and I were on the council together, they didn't give us our second half payment.
yeah,
That's never happened since then, has it?
$120,000, no.
I remember
But at that time, LGA was 51% of our budget.
and now it's only.
And now it's a
25?
third.
Okay. Now, you need us to make a motion on this?
No, because we don't have to adopt it until the next
Next
meeting.
that. Let's wait till next.
So I'll still try to play. There's some other numbers that I can try to mess with too.
Yeah, I won't get my pitchfork out at the 17th.
But this is everything. This is health insurance that we talked about the last time. This is 5% increase, which is still on the low end for stuff. This is most of the capital fund increases that were discussed.
This is all our predictions too of the 5-year plans to keep.
Yeah,
Right? Or no?
low
Low?
end, very low end.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be. Yeah, it's just gonna be a work in progress.
And you did say that Waseca County predicted not to have any increase, is that correct?
I don't know what Waseca County is gonna do. I'm guessing they're gonna be in the 1 to 3 range, I'm guessing. I think the city of Waseca is looking for what, 0 to -1 probably.
Yeah.
But the valuations keep going up, so
Yeah.
people, gonna just,
Yeah, and so that's another thing
that's
too
what
is
kills you.
valuations are high too, so I sometimes think that our percentages, even if we are, sometimes I think when we say 8, we're actually closer, we actually get like 9 sometimes, I think just based on valuations is a little
Yeah, but
weird.
there's nothing we can do about that, is there?
No.
No.
No,
Unless we want to bitch to the commission.
well,
You let them get up and leave.
So I'm not gonna vote for you, Doug.
so what I'm gonna do is Heather should have final numbers for August done by Friday, I think. If I have those numbers, I will put those new numbers in the year-to-date columns and I'll send you guys all an updated
Cool.
copy of the
That'd be
budget.
good.
That'd be good.
So that you
Look
can
at that.
see the updated numbers. At least you should have a little closer idea of August. So that'll be 4 months away from the end of the year. We should at least have a closer idea of where we'll be at.
If you divide the year into 3, quarters, do you think average quarter would be the same for the last quarter?
No, not really, because different, especially on the revenue side, because revenue comes in at weird times, certain stuff
Okay,
comes in
gotcha.
at different weird times. Expenses probably will be close,
Okay.
but revenue won't be. Revenue will be weird.
Could you put just your best guess estimate of what it could be in that, what you're gonna send to it? Just off to the side saying, blah, blah, blah.
Maybe,
Okay.
if I have time,
All right.
we'll see.
Because a historical average would be kind of nice to have in my head when I look at it, to say this is what the
The
quarter
other,
was last
the
year.
other thing you could do is you could take that
End of year.
divided by 8 and times it by 12. and then divide it by 12, and then you get, or take it divided by 8 and times it by 12. And you get, if you took whatever is in that year-to-date column and divided it by 8 and times it by 12, that would be the final figure would be, or estimate.
An estimate.
Estimate.
Okay.
So,
Alright. Alright. Miscellaneous?
I have one thing. Somewhere. There is a 35th anniversary party for the Waseca Area Foundation next Thursday at the Park, Northeast Park Pavilion in Waseca, if anybody wants to go.
Free cupcake.
Sweet.
There you go.
4 to 7.
4 to 7.
That's Kermit, right?
Huh?
Kermit's in that, right?
I don't think he's on there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Kermit
But
on there?
that's who I'm thinking of, right? That group that comes in
He's on there.
here. That's the group that comes in here and goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're part of that.
Administrators report?
Cupcakes.
Finishing up the
I know.
workers' comp policy, working on the budget. Met with Bolton and Mink on the street improvements. I met with Jessica Green from Northland Securities regarding the bond for the 2025 street improvements. Met with FEMA representatives regarding the flooding reimbursement since Lee covered most of the expenses. We don't have enough to meet the damages, so that was withdrawn. Working on claim submission yet. All USDA grant documents have been completed and submitted.
Yay.
Yay. What's the amount we're waiting for to come back?
57,000 or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
That'd be
And
nice.
that'll go back where? And what?
30 some to the fire department and 20 some to the siren.
For the siren.
Completed the ambulance payroll with all the updated payroll or a pay system. And there is no employee birthdays or anniversaries this time around.
Move to approve the city administrator's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor and council comments? Anybody have anything? Alright.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Last time you left early after the work.
Thank you.